I woke up late in the afternoon. For a second, I didn't know where I was. You know how it is when you wake up in a strange place and you wonder where in the world you are until memory comes rushing over you like a wave. I have convinced myself that I was dreaming everything and it happened the night before. And I'm in really home in bed, I thought. It's late, both Derry and Soda Pop are up. Derry's cooking breakfast, and any minute he and Soda come get me, come and drag me out of bed, wrestle me down, and tickle me until I'll die if they don't stop. It's me, Soda's turn to do the dishes after we eat. And then I'll go outside and play football. Johnny and Two Bit and I get Derry on our side since Johnny and I are so small and Derry's the best player. It'll go like the usual weekend morning. I tried telling myself that while I lay on the cold rock floor, wrapped up in Daly's jacket and listening to the wind rushing through the trees, dry leaves outside. Finally, I quit pretending and I pushed myself up. I was stiff and sore from sleeping on a hard floor, but I had never slept so soundly. I was still groggy. I pushed off Johnny's jean jacket, which had somehow got thrown across me, and blinked, scratched my head. It was awful quiet, with just the sound of rushing wind in the trees. Suddenly, I realized Johnny wasn't there. Johnny, I called loudly, and the old wooden church echoed, Ani, Ani. I looked around wildly, almost panic stricken, but then caught sight of some crooked letters written across the dust on the floor. Went to get supplies, be back soon, JC. I sighed and went to the pump to get a drink. The water was like liquid ice and it tasted funny, but it was water. I splashed some on my face and that woke me up pretty quick. I wiped my face off on Johnny's jacket and sat down on the back steps. The hill the church was on dropped off suddenly about 20 feet from the back door, and you could see for miles and miles. It was like sitting on top of the world. When you haven't got anything to do, you remember things in spite of yourself. I could remember every detail of the whole night, but it was unreal quality of a dream. It seemed much longer than 24 hours since Johnny and I had met daily at the corner of Pickett and Sutton. Maybe it was. Maybe Johnny had gone a whole week and I had just slept. Maybe he had already been worked over by the fuzz and was waiting to get the electric chair, since he wouldn't tell them where I was. Maybe Daly had been killed in a car wreck or something, and no one would ever know where I was. And I'd just die up here alone and turn into a skeleton. My overactive imagination was running away with me again. Sweat ran down my face, and I sweat ran down my face and back, and I was trembling. My head swam, and I leaned back and closed my eyes. I guess I was partly delayed shock. Finally, my stomach calmed down, and I relaxed a little, hoping that Johnny would remember cigarettes. I was scared, sitting there by myself. I heard someone coming up through the dead leaves toward the back of the church. Then I ducked inside the door. Then I heard whistling long and low, ending the sudden high note. I knew that whistle well enough. It was used by us in the Shepherd gang for Who's There. I returned it carefully, then darted out the door so fast I fell off the steps and sprawled flat under Johnny's nose. I propped myself up on elbows, grinned at him. Hey, Johnny, fancy meeting you here. He looked down at me over a big package. I swear, Pony Boy, you're getting to act more like Two Bit every day. I tried unsuccessfully to cock an eyebrow. Who's acting? I rolled over and sprang up, happy that someone was there. What'd you get? Come on inside. Daly told us to stay inside. We went in. Johnny dusted off the table with his jacket and started taking things out of the sack and lining them up neatly. A week's supply of bologna, 2 loaves of bread, a box of matches, John went on. I got tired of watching him do it all, so I started digging into the sack myself. Whee! I sat down in a dusty chair and stared. A paper copy of Gone with the Wind. How'd you know I always wanted one? Johnny reddened. I remember you saying something about it once. And me and you went to see that movie, remember? I thought you could maybe read it out loud and help kill time or something. Gee, thanks. I put the book down reluctantly. I wanted to start it right then. Peroxide? A deck of cards? Suddenly I realized something. Johnny, you ain't thinking of. Johnny sat down and pulled out his knife. We got to cut our hair, and we're going to bleach yours. He looked at the ground carefully. They'll have our descriptions in the papers. We can't fit them. Oh, no. My hand flew to my hair. Oh, Johnny, not my hair. It was my pride. It's long, silky, just like soda's, only a little redder. Our hair was tough, and we didn't have much to grease on it. Our hair labels, our hair labeled us greasers too. It was our trademark, and the one thing that we were proud of. Maybe we couldn't have Corvairs or Madras shirts, but we could have hair. We'd have to anyway if we got caught. You know, the first thing the judge does is make you get a haircut. I don't see why, I said shortly. Daly could just as easily mug someone with short hair. I don't I don't know either. It's just the way of breaking us. They can really do anything to guys like Curly Shepard or Tim. They had everything else done to them, and they can't take anything away from them because they don't have anything in the first place. So they cut their hair. I looked at Johnny imploringly. Johnny sighed. I'm going to cut mine too and wash the grease out, but I can't bleach it. I'm too dark skinned to look okay blonde. Oh, come on, pony boy, he pleaded. It'll grow back. Okay, I said, wide eyed. Get it over with. Johnny flipped out the razor edge of his switch, took out my hair, and started sawing at it. I shuddered. Not too short, I begged. Johnny, please. Finally, it was over with. My hair looked funny, scattered on the floor in tufts. It's lighter than I thought it was, I said, examining it. Can I see what it looks like now? No, Johnny said, slowly staring at me. We got to bleach it first. After I sat in the sun for 15 minutes to dry the bleach, Johnny let me look at the old cracked mirror we found in the closet. I did a double take. My hair was even lighter than Soda Pop's. I'd never combed it to the side like that, and it just didn't look like me. It made me look younger and scareder, too. Boy, howdy, I thought this really makes me look tough. I look like a blasted pansy. I was miserable. Johnny handed me the knife. He looked scared, too. Cut out the front and thin out the rest. I'll comb it back after I wash it. Johnny, I said tiredly, you can't wash your hair in the freezing water in this weather. You'll get a cold. He only shrugged. Go ahead and cut it. I did the best I could. He went ahead and washed it anyway, using a bar of soap he'd bought. And I was glad to have to run away with him instead of Two Bit or Steve or Daly. They would have been the worst thing. That would have been the worst thing they think of. Soap. I gave him Daly's jacket to wrap up in, and he sat shivering in the sunlight in the back steps, leaning against the door, combing his hair back. It was the first time I could see that he had eyebrows. He didn't look like Johnny. His forehead was whiter than where his bangs had been. It would have been funny if we hadn't been so scared. He was still shivering with cold. I guess, he said weakly, I guess we're disguised. I leaned back next to him sullenly. I guess so. Oh, shoot, Johnny said with fake cheerfulness. It's just hair. Shoot nothing, I snapped. It took me a long time to get that hair just the way I wanted it. And besides, this just ain't us. We ain't like being in a Halloween costume we can't get out of. Well, you got to get used to it, Johnny said with a finality. We're in big trouble, and it looks like it's ours. I started eating candy bar. I'm still tired, I said. To my surprise, the ground blurred and I felt tears running down my cheeks. I brushed them off hurriedly. Johnny looked as miserable as I felt. I'm sorry I cut your hair off, pony boy. Oh, it ain't that, I said between bites of chocolate. I mean, not all of it. It's just a little spooky. I really don't know what the matter is. I'm just mixed up. I know, Johnny said through chattering teeth as we went inside. Things have been happening so fast. I put my arms across his shoulders to warm him up. Two-Bit should have been at that one-horse store. Man, we're in the middle of nowhere, and the nearest house is 2 miles away. Things were laying out wide open, just waiting for somebody to slick like Two-Bit to come pick him up. He could have walked away half the store. He leaned back beside me, and I could feel him trembling. Good old Two-Bit, he said in a quavering voice. He must be homesick as I was.